Welcome to Baseball Card Illustrated, show about our national pastime illustrated with baseball cards. I'm Bronco, the PSA 11.
I thought it was a PSA Roman numeral 2 for a minute there.
That's entirely possible as well.
And I am 68% Diamond King and 32% surgically repaired.
And this, as I get us out of the way, is 2019 Topps Series 1.
Oh, you're taking a little throwback, are you? Remember 2019 when you didn't have a mask?
Fans were in the stands.
Whoa! There were interactions.
Something out of a history book.
That's crazy talk.
So we've got 67 cards in this here pack that will eventually
67 in the. These are one of those super packs. Wow. Well, it was. You just
I think we
up.
could do a video on how not to open a thing of baseball cards.
Yeah. We'll take those parts.
Bronco is in distress right now. I think I am the PSA 2 at the moment.
Now you're an 11 ASP, I think.
It's only one way to go from here. We'll get the ship righted and try to regroup.
Yeah, he's taking the plastic off of this very large pack of cards.
There we go.
It's a fun set, 2019.
Got 8 pounds of plastic done, and we start with a rookie card.
So I have to watch with this because your eye, and this is a great baseball card design thing to talk about. Your eye is drawn top to bottom and left to right. It's how we're taught to read, right? So when I look at this player's name, because you wouldn't know him, he's a prospect, looks like it's Suarez Ranger. Doesn't it?
That'd be a good name.
It did. I like it. I think you should go by Suarez Ranger, but he's Ranger Suarez is what he is, a pitcher for the Phillies. But
well, on Baseball Card Illustrated, he will now only be referred to as Suarez Ranger.
Suarez Ranger. Everything's backwards in this one. Now, here in 2019, obviously you're in a brand new era of card collecting. There's a lot of new things that go on. I mean, at this point, they've got the design down. You're using the full card. You've got a fun little crosshatch pattern, kind of 1968 looking throwback there at the very bottom right. But the fronts and the backs of these at this point in the game are very, very clean and very, very fun. Obviously, baseball card collecting is a lot different these days, but the companies have continued to improve.
And even on the back, he is Suarez Ranger.
I don't. That's a weird flaw to me.
I am putting that aside for the end of the episode here. We got Justin Upton coming at you next.
Upton Justin. When he and BJ were both Braves, they had a thing going around Atlanta. You're gonna make me lose my mind, and then there was a sign to left, Upton here, sign to center, Upton here.
I can't top that.
Nope. Justin Upton still hitting the ball, hitting home runs. He had 30 in 2018 for the Angels.
What was the average there? Take a look at that.
He was
257.
Not terrible. In this day and age, 257 is
I say he's
commendable.
never been known for the average, but there's Ahmed Nick.
So the Diamondbacks have 4 of this player, and they just rotate him around. They just call him. They change jerseys. It's Ketel Marte. It's Nick Ahmed. There's like 4 or 5 of them.
So there's been no shortage of jersey talk here on Baseball Card Illustrated.
Yeah.
What do you think about what the Astros, the Diamondbacks are doing with their jerseys?
That right there, if you didn't see the name, looks like an Astros jersey because of the brick red.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's which I think is why that happened there. But when they've done this gunmetal thing, that sort of gray, I think they call it gunmetal, that gray. It looks like a softball jersey to me.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying necessarily bad, but it stands apart from a lot of the jerseys in the big leagues.
It has that futuristic thing going on.
Got Jonathan VR here.
Yeah, that baseball card is throwing to first, but will eventually get caught stealing third.
Jonathan VR with a really nice year in 2019, and got, well, not released. His contract wasn't picked up or tendered or whatever the phraseology is there.
He's a center fielder now for the Marlins.
I think that was a pretty good pickup for the Marlins,
Yeah.
who probably went a little bit out of their comfort zone with giving him the money that they did, but I think it was a nice no risk, or high reward proposition for them.
It's Rodon Carlos. It wasn't long ago. He was a great prospect too, and he's still there. He's still solid in that rotation for the White Sox. By the way, I know we're going away from card talk to baseball talk, but the White Sox look really young and dangerous.
I was going to say, and you mentioned someone like this, if he can somehow regain that magic he had as a prospect to fit in with some of the other guys that they have, especially the younger guys that they have, and they brought in some nice free agents as well.
Yeah.
They could give the Twins a challenge.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a young and talented lineup. Luis Robert, Yohan Moncada.
Here's one of my favorite players in the game today, Francisco Lindor.
This is baseball in a nutshell. Oh well, sometimes you hit it on the nose and right at somebody.
I'm gonna say he just has he looks like he's having more fun than anybody else on the field.
Yeah, he's a hard guy to dislike, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I really, really like him.
We got Trevor Bauer, one of his former teammates.
The complete opposite. I think he is extremely easy to dislike by a lot of people. But Trevor Bauer speaks his mind.
And as you see here, he turned and fired the ball into the center field bleachers.
And got himself sent to Cincinnati for it.
I was going to say, you talk about one of the weirder days in baseball. You had him throw the ball into the outfield, into the bleachers. A couple weeks later, a week later, he gets traded for Puig and a bunch of other pieces. And the same day, after the trade is basically finished, Puig goes and gets involved in a brawl and comes over suspended.
They were swapping what they like to call pariahs. Now I don't know if I can really say it. Bauer is just extremely opinionated, and for better or for worse, he has thoughts.
Steven Duggar, rookie card there from the Giants.
Nice. Giants are retooling. Be interesting to see them in a few years.
Yeah. Atlanta Braves, Touki Toussaint.
Yeah. Another team that's doing well. And the thing that I like, going back to the designs here, you've got the RC now embedded into the card, like that's the rookie card the logo basically, and just it's very crisp. Everything about this is very crisp. One of the things that stands out to me about 2019 is I don't look at this and go, that looks just like this other year, like 1987 Roger Craig. Well, that looks like 1962. This doesn't look like anything. So it stands out. It's unique.
Actually, if anything, I would say it looks a little like 2020 for my money. But
well, I guess they've sort of found a rhythm to their current sets. Yeah.
Although, not to get off topic, but I like these a lot better because it's a lot easier to see the names, and I like the names on the bottom as opposed to on the side of a card.
Still
as
weird,
Corey Kluber makes his appearance.
Corey Kluber. That right there, that face is the most emotion you will ever see out of him.
I'm going to say, and that might have been one of the few appearances we saw of Corey Kluber in 2019.
Oh, man, he got hit in the arm by a line drive. Now he's in Texas. Did you know he's 34?
Amazing, isn't it?
34
years old. It seems like he's only about 27 or 28.
Yeah, he's been around a while.
Eugenio Suarez.
Man, with all the people the Reds have brought in, it's easy to forget about this kid, and he can hit.
I'm going to say 50 home runs a year ago.
Yeah, he can rake. He gets a little bit lost. I think if he played 20 years ago, he'd stand out as one of the big guys in the entire sport, not just on his team.
You've been to Great American Ballpark before.
Indeed.
In Cincinnati. I like their PA announcer, which I know sounds like a weird comment to make, but the way he says his name when he comes up to bat is just a work of, I guess, audio art.
Yeah.
I can't do the impression because it's a pretty deep voice and I don't have that. But.
By the way, we have two Suarez's, Suarez Eugenio and Suarez Ranger,
and we got Sanchez
and a Sanchez Yolmer. It's just so weird because your eye reads it top to bottom. It's what you're trained to do your whole life. I don't see Sanchez playing a whole lot with Yohan Moncada hanging around.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a battle for playing time in Chicago these days, and in a good way. Carlos Quintana, isn't it?
Jose Quintana. You saw Quintana.
I did. See, and that's kind of what we're talking about. And I didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah.
But you see the last name, and you kind of assume that it's a certain person. You got a pitcher here, so why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, Jose Quintana. He's a longtime White Sox player, longtime Cub now. He probably has never had to leave wherever it is he lives in Chicago. He just stays there.
We got Tyler Flowers.
Yeah,
that sounds like an incomplete thought. Tyler Flowers.
Flowers
like
what?
Yeah, like there's supposed to be something after that.
Matt Stairs. At who? I don't know how current to current events that we want to be, but Tyler Flowers was right at the start of this 2020 baseball season is one of the players that got diagnosed with COVID. Got a positive test. Both Braves catchers. So
I was going to say, and there's a chance that'll happen to other teams too, but as important as that position is, that's probably about as bad as you can have.
Yeah.
Either injury problems, illness problems, whatever they might be, to impact, especially the start of a season. That's going to be a little bit different.
That's tough. The whole pitching staff that's affected, a running game, trying to contain running games, it's tough.
Got Blake Parker there, who's pretty pumped up.
Wow. Blake's like, they let me have this save chance because they don't let me have a lot of them. He's been a closer. He's been not a closer. He's been a closer again. Angels just like to rotate. Share the wealth.
Taiwan Walker?
Yeah. Been a prospect in a couple of places. Seattle, Arizona. It's a guy that, if he ever turns around, the Diamondbacks are another one of those. They've collected pieces. It's just a matter of making it happen. And here's another great example of, if you didn't see D-backs, you would think this was an Astros jersey.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's they are the National League Astros. I had to stop there because the Astros were the National League Astros for a lot of years.
Somebody had to take their place.
Right?
And finally, for this portion of the 2019 Topps pack that we have here, we got Zach Cozart.
Zach Cozart, former Red, former Ole Miss Rebel.
There you go. We'll be back with more of this.
Sorry, I had to get Suarez Ranger back. He's the superhero we need right now.
So we'll be back with more 2019 Topps right after this here on Baseball Card Illustrated.
Go Power Rangers.
Thank you for joining Kevin and I on this edition of Baseball Card Illustrated. Don't forget to tune in throughout the week. We take a look at basketball autographs on Hoops Wednesday, baseball autographs on Through the Mail Thursday, and sometimes we even drop a Bronco bonus. Our most recent episode was a look at my favorite autograph in my collection. Now, back to 2019 Topps. Baseball Card Illustrated continues here with the second portion of a 20... Oh, that looks like a good card. I'm just...
One of them was gold. You'll see it in a second. Yeah, it's a different
just picking
color.
Portions of the stack here to show off, and looks like we got something coming up. But we'll start with Miguel Sono.
2019, Miguel Sono has had way too many ups and downs for a dude this early in his career. But here's a great photography example for a baseball card because it's an in-action photo, and he's got that new Twins logo behind him, new/old Twins logo.
What's old is new again.
Yeah,
or what's new is old again.
You want it to be a little bit like a postcard, I think, in a baseball card format, ideally, right? And that one is, if you're a fan of Miguel Sono, you probably love that picture.
I'm going to say, we've got a couple cards like this, and I'll get your opinion about this as we put up...
Enrique. That's Kike Hernandez.
We got Justice Sheffield here. I'm trying to...
show the...
knock them all down.
It works.
Okay, well, you saw Justice Sheffield's in here. So what do you think of this design of a card, this format?
What's interesting about it to me is it's a bit of a throwback, right? Topps used these in the early 70s. And then at various points throughout, but the early 70s is where it really stood out, like 71, that all black border design. Some of their most iconic cards are flipped to that side. It's not a big deal to me, except if you're doing that for only a handful of the cards, it's a little weird to keep them, like, how do you keep them in a stack? How do you put them in a plastic sheet? How do you...
Well, on the plastic sheet, I'm glad you said that. That's where I was kind of leading with this. Like, I've always struggled with exactly how am I supposed to put these in here when, you got your 9 cards in, on each sheet or whatever, and you got 8 that are, well, I'm trying to find an example of something here. We got some interesting cards. They're all like this.
Wow. You've hit a...
All right, so we'll bring back our friend Ranger here.
Go.
So you got
Suarez
8 cards
Ranger.
like this, and then you've got this. Like, how do you display this?
Yeah.
Do you put it in like this? Do you put it in like this?
Right. It's
like there's no real easy way to do it.
Yeah, it's not uniform. And then you've seen the 8 plastic sheet, the 8 pack plastic sheet. But the problem is you would have to put only those cards together, so it's a different animal. Hey, now that's a good one.
The World Series champions.
Does it say when that was taken? It's a
date. That was actually taken on Thursday night, opening day, and those are virtual fans.
Well, they packed it. There's virtual fans packing.
They did a great job of that, didn't they?
I think the Nationals were really close to not even making the playoffs.
They almost fired their manager early in the year.
In the last pitch that they hit in the wild card game is when they took the lead. Mm-hmm. They did not lead until the last pitch they saw in that game, and they went on to win the World Series.
I was going to say, the last out that they made came on the base paths.
Yep.
Sort of subject in the Milwaukee area.
A little bit.
We got the Chicago Cubs cracking jokes.
Whoa! Hey, this is kind of fun too. You know what this reminds me of too is remember Fleer for a while in the early years of Fleer,
Mm-hmm.
they had a lot of fun with cards. Sometimes they would do it over the course of 2 cards, right?
Yeah.
Now the best part is they messed up the numbering on those cards. I don't know if you remember this, but they messed up the numbering. So they had one where it was a 2-card combination and it said speed and power. Speed and is on one side and power is on the other, and they swapped the numbers. So if you're doing the set chronologically, it's power, speed and.
I'm gonna say that's one of the things that was so great about cards back in the day is all kinds of errors like that.
It's amazing.
Like now, occasionally they have some where they're short prints and they're on purpose, but yeah, just good old fashioned mistakes back in the day.
Right. This is where photography is right here in 2019. Just a fantastic action shot. It's in game, Baez diving. I mean, it's good stuff. These feel very collectible to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Very
absolutely. And here's what I'm saying: we got to run on the cards that are this layout.
The horizontal instead of the vertical, and here it's because spatially you've got the full body plus the baseball.
I was gonna say, I think that's another card that's just a really good card.
Yeah. Like if you're a fan of Zach Godley and he's a young, talented pitcher, that's a great looking card.
Absolutely. Got Jackie Bradley.
Wow, you're on
Junior.
almost all horizontals right now.
Yeah, that's why I was like kind of stumbling through here, looking for a card that was like the more, traditional vertical route. But
Yeah.
and got Urban Santana coming up next. He's been around for quite a while.
Played for several teams.
I honestly didn't even realize he was still around. That's how long he's been around.
Making millions of dollars from somebody.
You want to bang on something here for a second?
Hit it. Oh, yeah.
Now, this actually comes with a sound effect.
Somehow I know a fastball is coming.
Extra collectible.
It's unfortunate because the Astros, this is probably an unpopular take, the Astros have been a really good team. Like they were 6-7 years ago the worst team in baseball, and they built it from there all the way up with shrewd drafting, shrewd working, and then unfortunately I'm not minimizing what's happened, but it's
Some
soiled it.
Help, shall we say?
Yeah, they did get help, and clearly.
Well, that was kind of Brandon Lowe of you to point out.
Hey, so there's a Lowe and a Lau that play on the Rays. It is Brandon Lowe, but Nate Lau, right? Nate Lau's the first baseman. Yeah,
I believe so.
is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Dwayne Stats, the Rays announcer, that's got to be terrible.
And this is another card. Perfect way to present everything in this photo. You got the Yankee player sliding into second base there as he's trying to make the throw to, I'm assuming, turn a double play.
Yeah. Great photos.
Another nice action shot here of Josh Harrison.
Oh, and that's Josh Harrison in a nutshell, isn't it? Like he's diving because he's about to move from his third to his fourth position of the day. He's about to go from shortstop to right field,
And some classic jerseys there.
Yeah, any day. I will go with those any day. They could wear them every day. Sean Reed Foley or Reed Foley Sean.
Oddly enough, it doesn't work as well for him as it does for our good friend Ranger.
Yeah, never trust a man with 2 first names and a last name and a hyphen. Is that how that works?
I'm going to say there's a lot of distrust to go along there.
You have a lot of stadium cards in this.
Yeah, I was going to say, and personally, I actually like those. Now, I could probably do without the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, but I told you my story about going out there, right?
I don't know if you have.
So I was out there a couple of years ago for opening day. I think it was 2016, to be specific. And they had just lost the naming rights to the stadium. I think it was O.com at the time.
Right.
The night before opening day, it was all over the news in the Oakland area. So it's like, okay, I'm going to a game at Stadium?
I think if you had $20, you could have called it Bronco PSA
Right?
11 Stadium.
Baseball Card Illustrated Stadium here in Oakland.
And by the way, that right there is maybe one of Topps best work in their 70 years of existence, because that stadium actually looks good.
I was going to say, that had to be CGI filled.
Wow.
So Dylan and I went to a game, our graphics guru here that made this lovely design here for us. So we sat out here in the right field bleachers, and the bleacher creatures out there are pretty interesting. They've got routines for every one of their players that comes up to bat in the stands. It's a lot of fun.
I tell you, they do have fun in Oakland. They may not pack it in, and they may not make the playoffs much or advance in the playoffs, but they do have fun out there.
And they had 3 vendors for every fan in attendance. So
yeah.
You definitely got plenty of attention. So we got what is this, a silver card?
Yeah,
or
we're
what
in
do
a
we got
parallel here.
Doesn't say exactly. I probably should be more up to date on exactly what kind of parallel this is.
So they have, I know there are reds, blues, golds, and I imagine this is silver. So, and I don't know exactly what the numbering is on it, but
yeah, I don't think it was numbered. Let me double check on the back here. It is not numbered.
But yeah, that's a.
Okay, here's a trivia question though for you. Do you know why he wears number 34?
Hit it.
It is a tribute to Roy Halladay.
Really? That's fantastic.
We got Ted Williams there.
Team uniform evolution, it says. Yeah, that's. You're going all the way back. There's when you talk about evolution, that's the beginning. the Boston on the front is the great design of that time.
Brings us to Eric Thames on a 1984 Topps design.
Hey.
Now that's a card I like. Just
Man,
what a great design. It looks really nice in the glossy finish of today's version of cards.
oh, it makes me want. You know, they do a lot of archive stuff where they do sets or parts of sets with old designs, and that makes me want to collect or want to see 84s. Those are really, really nice. You know, the one thing that's not true to form for an 84 though, he does have a mustache. He just has more than a mustache. If he had just shaved to the mustache, then it's 1984. Then you're in. Man, that's a nice card.
So we got a Brewer there. We got another former Brewer. We got Zach Greinke.
This is their action pose for Zach Greinke, rubbing up a baseball.
Staring a little bit.
Yeah, looks kind of. He looks gritty.
Hey, now we go to some yellow back cards. Again, I'm sure there's a better name for that, but that's Steven Souza Jr.
You're probably looking at gold parallel. Is that the thought here?
It could be. We got Jake Lamb.
So what's interesting about this is the gold parallel spills over into the backgrounds too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the border. It actually what's behind Jake Lamb, the crowd in the field, has a yellowish tint. Wow.
Jose Barrios, who got lit up a little bit on opening day for the Twins.
Man, that was tough.
And if you're going to get one of these cards, you definitely want to get a good player, maybe a rookie card. Not sure Fenway Park is the perfect card
The
for
least
that.
rookie ever.
Yeah.
Year number 108 of Fenway Park in 2019. It's amazing. Iconic stadium, fantastic stadium, but yeah. If you're, it's a new design on the oldest possible baseball concept.
And for those of you kind of wondering, the back of the card, it shows their starting rotation for the season, their starting lineup. Gives you a little bit of a outlook on the design of the field. Obviously, Fenway's got a rather unique outfield when it comes to not only the fence, but just the way things jut out into the outfield towards center field. And then you got that pretty narrow line down the right field line.
The two categories mentioned statistically for this team, for team leaders, wins on the right for the traditionalists, on base plus slugging on the left for the sabermetricians.
Which was a huge stat when Fenway opened.
Yes. Well, you remember old newspaper articles from that time. I'll tell you what, see, the OPS on this player was incredible.
Then they had to do a retake because nobody knew what OPS was. Yeah, that was an oops.
Oops. Yeah, instead of an OPS, it was an OOPS. I've had a few of those in my life. I might lead the league in OOPS.
And with that, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with the final portion of this 2019. I keep calling it 2019. See, I got the 19 in there somewhere. Topps Baseball Series 1 pack.
Oops.
Thank you for watching our look at 2019 Topps. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you probably already know that Rob Deere is one of my favorite players of all time. One of the reasons why is actually covered in a recent Bronco bonus video when I discussed my favorite autographed item. This is actually a photo of me with the Slugger back in Milwaukee County Stadium. Just don't ask why I'm wearing a Detroit Tigers jacket. Anyway, Kevin and I hope you're enjoying this video and invite you to take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Also, leave us a comment down below and let us know what players you enjoyed getting your picture taken with back when Photo Night was a regular promotion at the stadium. Now, let's go back to 2019 Topps and see if we can find another Suarez Ranger card.
Coming at you with the third and final installment of this 2019 Topps pack. Hey, I got it right. I call it 2019 instead of 2019. So we'll celebrate that with Joey Wendell.
Mr. Wendell.
Goes to Washington or Tampa Bay.
Oh, look out.
How about Salvi Perez? I like watching him behind the plate.
Yeah, for sure. He's been around a while now for this Royals team. He's kind of been there for the top and the bottom, unfortunately. But a good guy to watch. Fun action shot. These cards' designs are solid. The colors are crisp.
And David Price from the 2018 World Series. That's a nice looking card.
Ooh, yes. Those Red Sox. The thing about the 2018 NLCS that was Dodgers Brewers, you did have that feeling that whoever was going to win that was about to get blasted.
Yeah, they were having their highlight before getting a chance to go to Boston. Okay, Tommy Pham. Gotta ask your opinion. Fan? Not a fan.
Oh, his skill set is intriguing, right? There's no question as a player he can play. He is highly outspoken, and there's nothing wrong with that in a lot of cases, but in this case it's been enough to get him sort of placed in the doghouse in more than one spot, and that's a bit of an issue.
Yeah, he just certainly has the right to speak his mind, and there's organizations that he's been with that he wasn't a fan of, but I don't know that he's expressed that in the best possible way, and I can't say I'm really a big fan of him.
Yeah.
Nolan Oral.
Who?
Try that again in English here, shall we?
Arenado Nolan.
Yeah, that's the problem. I was reading the bottom first, and it threw me all the way off there.
You don't read bottom to top. This is not how we do it in this language. League leaders. And this is another one of those where you've got that crisp purple around the outside and the purple of the uniform, which is a little different. Like, they're not the same purple, right? They didn't match it exactly. And it's visually appealing. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. It stands out. It's real sharp. Here's a guy I really liked watching play when he was at the Brewers. Jesus Aguilar with his home run celebration there at the end. I'm assuming he's crossing home plate there.
I'm thinking that's it. For about 2/3 of a season, Jesus Aguilar was about as dangerous as they came in baseball. He's trailed off a bit since then, but he was as fun to watch as anybody for that large portion of the one season.
Without a doubt. Hector Rondon.
There you go. Now we talked about how the Diamondbacks uniforms look like the Astros uniforms. These Astros uniforms look like they could be Tigers uniforms.
Yeah, they really do.
Or Orioles uniforms.
Or possibly like a variation of something the Mets would wear.
That's true. Yeah, you see a little orange there, kind of a similar kind of orange.
Now, we say Mets, that brings, hopefully we can get the glare out of the way there. We say the Mets, that brings Omar Minaya. And what does Omar Minaya do better than anybody?
He sign somebody.
He signs everybody, and this was one signing for the Mets that didn't work out.
Yeah, Cespedes has had some things happen to him. Is that a good way to put it? He's had some things happen to him. Omar Minaya is looking up from the booth thinking, man, I put a lot of money into that. Yikes. Poor Mets.
He's just going to kind of hide.
Omar's like, can I go back to being a player? It seemed easier. Michael Franco is no longer a Philly, is that right?
I believe that is correct.
He's on a different team now. So he was one of those that was a huge prospect.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had a nice start for them.
Yeah. It just has not mapped for him. So he's second organization for him.
Blake Snell.
Oh, there you go. League leader. Well, he's a guy to watch too. And I mean, he's another guy that spoke out quite a bit early about playing baseball in 2020, the dangers for players, and I mean it's sometimes it's difficult to relate to someone who's going to make 9 figures, but his points were understandable. I mean, this was a big risk that's being taken by players.
And he's a guy that's not yet at that level where he's signed the contract yet.
That's right.
It's one thing for, we'll say, Bryce Harper, just to pick a name, who has already signed that big contract. But this is a guy that still has to continue to perform in order to get that big deal that, at least on the track that he's on, he will eventually one day get. But
if I were to tell you that I'd give you $100 million in the first of the year, but you have to come in with 2, you can't break either arm, you probably would stop using your arms to do things
Yeah.
so you could collect the $100 million. I get it. It makes sense. But he really is great to watch, too. Those Rays are fun.
You think that like they should probably send something extra back to Pittsburgh for that trade for Chris Archer? Like, it's not really their fault, but that did not work out well for the Pirates.
A little bit. Oh, what do we have here? There's a... And for a second, I thought Bryce Harper was wearing a Blue Jays jersey, just with all those colors. He loves those bright colors. Man, is that fun. That Future Stars is a throwback, too.
Yeah, it sure is.
That's 88, 89.
I gotta say, I know for sure 89 they had him, but I think they even had him as back like in 87.
Yeah, I think you're right. With that weird sort of
the cursive thing on the bottom half of the card, like Roger Craig there, it's his manager. I think it said Future Stars along there.
That's solid, man.
There's Wade Davis, who at one point was one of the top closers in the game.
And then the two words on the bottom right of that card happened to him. And for a pitcher, Colorado Rockies, not the words you want to hear.
I'm gonna say it usually doesn't work out too well when you end up there.
Many a career has fizzled for a pitcher in Colorado. Luis Urias.
He's involved in a big off-season trade, and I guess just is getting off the COVID list now.
Yeah,
he's going to be back in camp.
Early players that has COVID, Brewers will be counting on him.
So here's another guy. We talk about Tommy Pham. This is another guy that tons of ability, a lot of respect for his game, but not always the biggest fan of him and some of his actions. Yadier Molina.
It's funny because it's such a dividing line. If you're a fan of the franchise, then he can absolutely do no wrong, and if you're not a fan of the franchise, he rubs you the wrong way. But he's at the end of the day, he's going to be the best defensive catcher of his generation by a mile.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah, absolutely.
And he has had some good offensive years to boot. I mean, the one thing I don't think you can argue is that he's been extremely valuable for an extremely long time.
Corey Seeger.
Yeah. Corey's like, hey, Kyle, remember when you were the most relevant Seeger? And before that, it was Bob Seeger. Try on these night moves. I'm the star now. Wow, where'd that come from?
Sometimes your references kind of surprise me because that's not necessarily your thing.
I just crossed the decades. Teoscar Hernandez there. That's another fun one. In action, catching that fly ball.
So you like that blue glove.
Yeah, man. And they make it really stand out. You know, it's well thought out. Do like the Blue Jays logo. Don't like the fact that they have to play their home games like in the Little League Park down the street, but you know, they'll get it.
We're just gonna skip over this one. That was a rather
forgettable
as a
era.
Brewer. Yeah, that was rather forgettable.
I struck out 3 times looking at that. It just never worked for him.
No.
Adalberto Mondesi's one of those like good shortstops. What's weird is in that photo, I think he's 52 years old. Looks like he's dirty too. I guess that's part of it. But
well, by the Royals standards and what they have on their roster, he probably is one of the older players, right?
Yeah, they're all looking at him like, "Hey, Methuselah, how you throw this ball to first?" He's a good one though. Michael Conforto, another Mets sort of young prospectish kind of guy. Omar Minaya.
Did you say Mets?
Hey, let me sign him. He already did. Let me sign him again.
He can have 2 contracts, right?
Sure, why not? Yeah, Conforto's a guy that's he's been good for them. That's a hard park to hit in, I think.
Yeah.
I've never hit there, but they say it's a hard park to hit in. Odubel Herrera.
That's another guy that kind of started out pretty good, and it hasn't gone as well for him in recent times.
I rooted really heavily for his success. You know why? Because his first name is a word scramble for the word double. If you rearrange Odubel, it's double. So he was going to be double Herrera. But no. Omar Minaya didn't even sign that one. Man.
Here's a guy that's kind of come on the last few years. Yeah. Kind of the opposite of Herrera.
Yeah, Marcus Semien has gone from almost a forgotten shortstop to a difference maker. And I've always been a fan of the different color combinations on these A's jerseys, but these brighter greens that they've gone to, really sharp. Big fan of that. Like, it's not early 80s like where it's blinding you, but it's really good. Trevor Williams.
T-Will.
Old T-Will.
I don't know if anyone calls him that. They probably shouldn't.
Is it a series of tats there on the right arm? Yeah, it is.
Either that or it's his grocery
Or
list.
the left arm. Yeah. He's
Let's take
he's
a
written
look
a
here.
scouting report on his arm.
1 dozen eggs, a gallon of milk, a steak,
He's sticking to the basics.
and it's a map to AAA just in case things don't go well.
Indianapolis, this way.
Oh no, wait, that's actually Pittsburgh. That's the Major League Stadium. It's just hard to tell because the Pirates are.
AAA of their own.
They are. They are in one division, and the rest of the teams in the National League Central this year are in a completely different division.
30 years now it's been happening for them.
Brandon Belt checks in next.
Like that one. Nice little action shot.
Hey, Carlos Martinez.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, there's some interesting stories about him, but I'm sure you've heard this one. There's a hotel that visiting teams stay in Milwaukee, and I don't know where this rumor started, and I guess it's been going for a while that it's haunted,
Yeah.
that there's ghosts. And Carlos Martinez has not handled that situation particularly well of staying there.
So there's a video. It exists. And the night that this happened, they had some people where I worked that called me and said, hey, can you help out? Because Carlos is in this video speaking very rapidly in Spanish. And I know a little bit of the language, so they're like, can you listen to this and see what's going on? And he's in his hotel room with like 7 of his teammates. Basically, they're like keeping him from freaking out. And he's losing his mind in there, talking about ghosts and haunted and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness. Carlos Martinez. I would not be shocked if in 20 years we learned that some hotel service person, someone that works there on a daily basis, was creating holograms to mess with the visiting teams. Because why not?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, nothing to be... Why not? There's no reason not to do it.
Yeah.
Do your little Greg Brady thing and pretend that there's a UFO,
Yes. That's what they're doing. They've been spooking opponents in Milwaukee for years. I love it.
Got Edwin Diaz coming up next.
Omar Minaya. This is pre-Omar Minaya, but he is a Met now. Hey. Edwin
Gonna
Diaz.
play for the Mets.
And Robinson Cano. Way past his prime. Not Edwin Diaz. He's been good. Jake Odorizzi, former Brewers pitching prospect, he's been pretty good for the Twins.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's turned out to be a pretty nice pitcher.
Yeah.
Then we got some yellow cards. Probably not the official technical term. It works well.
The yellow-
Actually, we got 2 A's here, so I'll just put them
Oh, it's
side by
perfect for a
side.
yellow parallel.
Like, this is the perfect team for that.
Oh, yeah. It's green and gold, basically. Now, the thing on the left, the Piscotty card on the left, I see McGuire there.
Yeah, and not just because of the 25.
Right. I mean, there's some similarities with that. And then this, again, this brighter green. But just eye-popping. Eye-popping colors. Looks great. 2019 tops with a combination of and here's by the way, the backs of the gold parallels. They don't look too much different from the regulars, but those are obviously in shorter supply. They do a lot of different parallels. I want to say there's a camo one. I think there's a red one. There's 6 or 7 different.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no shortage.
It's amazing. Those are.
So we'll take these guys out of the way.
You still got more?
No, we're
Okay.
wrapping it up.
Okay.
It's time to go.
Man,
There's baseball on TV.
that is the longest pack. Not in time, just a number of cards. Like
67 of them.
I feel like you'd have like half the set now.
Right?
Like you got to go collect the rest of them.
So, for Eugenio Suarez, Eric Thames,
1984 style.
and
Go Suarez Ranger.
or Ranger Suarez. Your choice. He's Kevin, the Diamond King. I'm Bronco, the PSA 11. Thanks for watching, everybody. You've been watching the Baseball Card Illustrated channel.
Give me some of that gum.